see this. I can see you doing this with the tone of her voice.
Yes.
I can definitely see you singing this one.
Maybe that's what you gotta do when you get ready to.
Oh, she's done a lot of singing.
Well, I see her when she gets on Facebook. She's bouncing around and going. She's either taking some peppermint or something.
It's exciting to me.
So you can record it then?
It's recording right now. Yep. And so whatever's at the front, I'll just trim it off until, you know, to where we want it.
Okay.
Rolling.
That's what we're doing. Rolling.
You're rolling.
Rolling on the river.
Now, it's one thing to be that beautiful, and it's another thing to have that beautiful voice. You put the two together?
Stop
What are you
it.
saying about you and me?
Yeah, you and I, we don't have a lot going for us. So we're married to wonderful women.
There you go. This is what you really could sing to it.
They are entertainers. It's fun watching entertainers,
Yeah.
and seeing the passion in people. That's what I love. For me, it doesn't matter if it's skiing or snowboarding or singing or gymnastics. It's the passion that people have and the expertise they do. I love watching any of it.
Well, if you got some, you can talk about IQ and talk about stuff, but if you got some stuff passion, they're gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
That's just how simple it is.
Yeah.
They got that like you do. You just it oozes from them. It just, you know, just like their passion. Yeah.
All right. Good song.
I left a good job in the city. Okay, it's 7:29, and so we'll wait a couple more minutes, and we'll just kind of hang out and see if anybody pops on. And you know what? I'm actually gonna see about jumping on here myself.
You know what that's what I should do is do that and turn the volume down. That's right. Let's go back. I'll turn the volume off.
Okay, so
There we go.
see if it'll let me look at participants.
There we go. Who's Andrea? You know Andrea Hughes, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Hello, Andrea.
That's Bart's
Arts.
wife.
Yep.
Okay, so
Ready?
let's do it. You know, it's 7:31, and if people hop in, what's going to happen is they're just going to be able to hop in and they're going to be able to hear what we're saying.
Good.
But they're, you know, they really won't show up. Let me make sure. Mute. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so yeah, they'll be able to pop in and have their camera on or off, and then we can just kind of do our thing. Does that sound good?
Yeah, so we're ready to go.
We're ready to go.
And you'll see them on your phone?
Yes, when I log back into it, I'll be able to see it on my phone. And actually, I won't even log back in unless I see the participants jump up.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. And then that way, it doesn't like mess up the flow.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, whether they're in or out, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
On our based on our
But
conversation.
it'll show a chat to who's.
Exactly.
And you can answer that. That's fine.
Yep. If I see like a number show up in this chat box here, then I will definitely I'll jump on so that I can answer chats, questions. But then, I say we just, if there's people on and there's chat questions in the chat box,
Then we answer.
we answer the
Yeah,
questions.
good,
Yeah.
Perfect.
But, as far as like, I say we just flow with it.
Mm-hmm.
And then if there's any questions to answer, we wait until the end to do
Okay.
that. Does that
Okay.
sounds good? Okay.
Okay.
So I'll let you kick it off, Coach. Actually, hang on a second.
Tell me what you want and I'll lead into it.
Okay.
Ready?
This actually sounds pretty good, or looks pretty good.
That's
Yeah, I
great.
love it.
All
Yes.
right. How's everybody tonight? I've got two good friends with me tonight. We're going to talk about wellness. We're going to tell some great stories. I think will help everybody, families, kids, individuals, no matter how old you are, or you're an athlete, whatever may be the case. But there's stories, I think, in this time, this pandemic, and all of us concerned with the virus and wellness and so forth. These two people next to me, one is Chris Heron. Chris, I've known Chris, oh gosh, a long, long time back. Actually, I knew his dad before that. And his dad used to work at Danbury Community College in financial aid. He used to be the basketball coach. And when I came to Dan, Jim had retired and stayed as a financial aid director. And Chris, obviously, I'll let him tell the story. Went to Southern and other things in financial. Very good businessman. And to my, would be, I guess, my left, or my right, actually, is Melissa's wife. And Melissa, I've known Melissa probably 10 years at least, because when Chris owned Turtle Run and the golf course, that's how this all started about a year ago. Chris and I had a conversation and said, Coach, you need to look at this. And said, okay, I'll look at it. And being in coaching, down Notre Dame Law Sled, I said, well, I got to figure out time. But well, all of a sudden in March, the pandemic hit, and what better way to start looking at other options and opportunities. And that's kind of how it got started with the two of us. What I'm going to do is refer to Melissa, because she's got a great story. And this is what probably impressed me most about the journey of wellness, not only with your body, but also in your house, the toxins and so forth. And one of the things I've done research, I have a good friend, Dr. Bartosh, that I've researched this with numerous times over the years. And it really got me into thinking about what you got to do and what you put in your body and what's in your house and so forth. And then these two came along, and it was like instantaneously, there's a message here. And I go, why would a guy that owns a golf course, is in finance, why is he involved in this? And it kind of intrigued me with Chris. I used to see him run around in shorts when it was about 40 degrees outside. And I said, there's something to this. So that's how we start. So Melissa, I'm gonna let you tell your story, because it is a great story about why she's into the wellness and taking care of yourself and your kids. A mother of 7 kids. And somebody that beautiful has got 7 kids.
Oh.
And I just found out she sings also.
Oh.
Chris, I hate to say this, but you aren't exactly Rock Hudson, you overachieve. So, or Brad Pitt, or I could go on. So,
but I am Chris Heron.
Yes, you are.
Oh.
Okay, there you go.
Well, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Coach. I'm really excited to be here and share my story, because it's just really something that has brought me to the place I am right now, and has really challenged our family in a lot of ways, that has brought us to a new lifestyle, a new way of living that we didn't even know existed before. So how it started for me is our youngest daughter just really had some serious health issues. And going through these health issues with her and researching and learning, what we learned is that her body was really, really full of inflammation. And I didn't really know much about inflammation at the time. I thought inflammation was like when you had an injury and you had swelling. But I didn't realize that systematic inflammation can be caused by lots of things, including environmental toxins and toxins in your food. And so what I learned through my research is that a lot of the household products that I had been using for my whole life as a mom, a lot of the foods that I was feeding my kids was full of synthetic ingredients, over processed artificial ingredients. And what was happening to our daughter is that it was bioaccumulating in her body. All of these different chemicals from different places was bioaccumulating and was causing systematic inflammation in her body. And so what we learned is that if we took some of the chemicals, if, we can't live in a bubble, right? We can't, eliminate all of the toxins from our life, but we can control what comes into our home and into our environment. And so once I started really looking at the ingredients and research the ingredients in the products that I was using in my home, I learned that there's a lot of really crappy junk products and dangers hidden in lots of the things that I was using, and that we were using in our home. So we just slowly started eliminating the products that contained synthetic, artificial, and possible toxins, and we replaced them with clean plant-based products. And what we saw was a huge transformation that happened with our daughter. And basically, every single symptom that she had before just went away within the course of just a few months of eliminating toxins. And then we saw the benefit for our entire family, because we thought we were just doing it for her, but we all noticed that we were feeling better, that we were having less symptoms that were being caused by all of the artificial fragrance and the chemicals that were in our house. So that brought me to a place as a mom of needing to find some great alternatives to all of the products that I was using. And luckily, I already had a great company that I was affiliated with and that I trusted to be able to do that ditch and switch. So once I started ditching the products and I just shared about it, I told friends and family. We had a lot of people that were praying for our family because our daughter was so seriously ill. And so I was updating our friends and family and just sharing our journey. And what that did is it just made a lot of people really take a look at their own environment and kind of join along with us on the journey. And so that's pretty much how what my story is. And for you, Chris, you saw it in your own life. You saw that making a few changes really changed the way you felt.
I did. I saw it firsthand, and it's when I owned Turtle Run. And Coach, thanks for the great introduction. It's always a pleasure sitting next to you and getting an introduction that is that flattering as always. But I saw that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to say something back to Melissa.
Mm-hmm.
Melissa, tell the people, you mentioned toxins. What were some of the toxins that you eliminated, just so they understand? And with your daughter, I thought how the things that you said, food stuff that you changed, I think they'd like to find that out.
Definitely. So some of the hidden toxins in our home were things like laundry soap and dryer sheets and the household cleaner that I was using. I had dogs in the house and a bunch of teenagers. And so I had tons of air fresheners plugged in all over the house with synthetic fragrance. I thought that I was getting like a cleaner version of products. But unfortunately, a lot of our products, American products, are made to look like they're clean, and it's called greenwashing. And so they're really not clean at all. So I basically looked at everything that we were using on our body, on any surface in our house, what I was cleaning with, what I was freshening the air with, and everything everything I found had hidden toxins.
Go back to this is what I thought really of the things that impressed me. You mentioned
Mhm.
that, but your daughter had some immune deficiency issues,
Mhm.
and you even had to the point where it affected her almost where she almost went cross-eyed, had all, I mean, the story you got and what you did there,
Mhm.
I don't think people really understand where she was coming from, and not to go real personal, but the thing
Okay.
that you did, the food that they were eating, that you changed, and that's,
Mhm.
I think, the real important story
Okay.
that these people need to hear.
So, my daughter was being affected by lots of different foods. And what we learned is that pretty much anything that is processed, meaning it's not in a raw form, um, is generally contains lots of artificial ingredients and things like high fructose corn syrup and MSG. For Andrea, what she was experiencing was autoimmune disease in two different ways. So she had two different autoimmune disorders pop up in her life. And the second one was orbital inflammatory syndrome, which was basically a pseudo tumor that grew behind her eye and strangulated the optic nerve of her eye. So it was basically putting pressure on the nerve of her eye that was squeezing, the blood flow off to her eye. So she was seen by a great pediatric healthcare at Riley Hospital in Indy. She had great healthcare to deal with the acute problem, which was that pocket, that pseudo tumor behind her eye. And then after that, she had steroid therapy for several months. And it was when that she was being weaned off the steroid therapy that we learned of her drastic food allergies. So her food allergies were gluten and aspartame and MSG, high fructose corn syrup. A lot of the dyes, food dyes and things affect her. And the way that it was affecting her was it was causing neurological issues with her. So what would happen with her is that if she would chew a few pieces of gum, it would cause her to have a grand mal seizure. If she had high fructose corn syrup mixed with red dye, it might cause her eyes to go crossed, and or maybe she would get the spins. So she would feel like she was spinning and spinning, and she wouldn't be able to open her eyes.
And she was terrified.
Well, it was terrifying.
Terrifying.
Well, you mentioned something about the corn syrup, and I think for people who are out there, if you look at any of your products you're buying, you need to look at all of them. I think that's the key. Is what I got out of what you told me one time is look on what is in those products.
Mhm.
I think that's really good. The corn syrup thing really caught my attention when you said that, and I think the processed food, again, those are things that the research I've seen and doctors I've talked to, it's the same thing. And you've really gone after that to clean up a problem. In fact, some of the people said, well, she needs to be put on Redland. And how many of that times do people hear that with their kids
Mhm.
instead of looking at the diet? And
Mhm.
I guess that's the thing in this country that bothers me with all stuff's going on. Nobody really comes out and says, hey, we need to take care of our immune system. We wash our hands and all that stuff. That's great. I'm not poo-pooing that or a mask,
Mhm.
but nobody really addresses what you're talking about. And that's to fight and make sure you got your immune system built up so these things don't happen. And again, just research I've seen, talking to doctors and so forth. And your story is a great example exactly of what we should be doing with what we're putting in our system. And Melissa, it's unbelievable. When you told me all that, it just kept clicking what I've heard from everybody else.
And we changed Andrea's diet, but we didn't change our own at first.
Right, and you're right. And that in a family situation, that can be tough because
Mhm.
if you're used to cooking a certain way, and we're all habitual, we've been doing, our
Mhm.
lifestyles and all that. And how many times we've been on fad diets and all those kind of things, and it don't last long. And you mentioned something here, keyword, lifestyle change, and
Definitely.
your lifestyle change. Now, again, going back to seeing Chris, I've known him a long time. Seeing the lifestyle change he's made, I'm going, oh, wait a minute. Here's a guy who's a very good, and I'm gonna let him talk. I didn't mean to cut you off
Well, that's
before, Chris,
fine.
but I'm gonna let him tell his story because he gets pretty passionate about his story about arthritis and he couldn't swing a golf club anymore. And
Mhm.
I'm gonna go into a little bit of that, but I want to make sure the people that are listening to this understand these two. I mean, they're living examples on of what exactly changing your toxins in your house, but also the food stuff that you're giving to your kids and yourself. And believe me, those are key issues where we're at, especially what's going on in this country right now. It, I can't say enough about the examples these two have and the company they have also. So I'll let them talk about it a little bit. Unless you got anything else you want to tell these people about your daughter and some of the food stuff that you changed?
I do. Yeah, so I'm really excited to talk a little bit about how we actually found the foods that were causing some inflammatory problems with Andrea. And basically, what we did is we used a method that is some people refer to as the GAPS method. And basically, what it is we just took away a few of the normal food items that we had been eating. We took those away. And what she did is for a few months, she ate vegetables and fruit and lean meat. So she didn't have any dairy. She didn't have any sugar. She had no artificial ingredients. We used like olive oil and healthy fats and seasoning. And then we did that for a couple of months. And as her symptoms were disappearing, and then once we felt like we kind of had a grip on her symptoms, we would just slowly add a food in and we would monitor her symptoms after she ate it. So if she got a stomach ache or how she was feeling, or if she started bouncing off the walls, or if she had a headache or neurological symptoms, then we would journal that. And we kept a food journal for her. And so slowly but surely, we came up with a pretty good list of some things that were not good for her. And most of them were processed artificial ingredients.
Which is in our everyday American diet,
Right.
pretty much.
Yes.
What we've found.
Yes.
Now, with that, Chris is beating me over the head with this one. He has a book. I want you to share with these people, Chris, that I've been, it's not that I'm reluctant, I just get too many other things going on, but he has a very good book. I got it written down, I need to buy it, but he is sold on it, and I think you need to tell people.
Well, the book you're referring to is a book called It Starts with Food. And it starts with food. And where we found this book, Melissa took a trip and she got introduced to a nutrition program called Whole30. That's what you were just about ready to talk about, I think. Is that similar to the GAP?
Yeah, it really is.
So Whole30, and when she came back from her trip, she asked if I'd be interested in doing this Whole30 with her. And so we read through this book, and it talked a lot about the things Melissa's talking about taking this processed food out of your life, taking the refined sugar out of your life, taking the dairy out of your life. And
for 30 days.
For 30 days. It was just a challenge for 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
What we found out was that we are addicted to sugar. I was, and Melissa, we were addicted to sugar. And so this was going to be a challenge to get us to see how our bodies would react after 30 days and through the 30-day process.
No M&Ms.
No M&Ms,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
And
Well,
see
and
what would happen and how we would feel after that. And the results were absolutely incredible. That was August of 2018. and we haven't looked back.
We haven't looked back. Now, we don't eat that way all the time, Whole30.
Correct.
But we do follow, we do practice a lifestyle of choosing quality ingredients. So we choose quality food. We look for local organic if we can find it. And we just choose better. We spend a little more of a grocery budget to get those quality foods, and it's made a huge impact. We feel better. We feel better. I mean, we feel better.
Mhm.
I feel better than I did 10 years ago. So
With that, Melissa, I interject this so people understand this, that you're right, you may spend a bit more, but on the backside is you're not going to the doctor all the time or doing this. And I have a niece, Lisa, and she tells me the program that she's been on very since she got it from you, that she's not been sick in 2 years, and she's a kindergarten teacher. And believe me, if you're teaching at that level, the young kids have all kind of sicknesses again. And she uses the humidifier, she does all that stuff and changes what you're talking about. And that's amazing to me.
Well, you're talking about building your immune system.
Right.
And that's what we are doing. We're
Exactly.
building our immune system instead of tearing it down with processed food and with a lot of sugar. And because that is in the everyday American diet.
Right. And the
It's
corn syrup is a big thing that you're talking about. You
huge.
look at all the things that's in that, and I didn't really realize it until you really brought attention to it. And I think that's where we're at. It's just to say to people, take a look at what you're eating and what you're doing, because it's like you said with the book, Chris. And nothing against Chris, but really, as long as I know him, I thought he'd be the last person that would be involved in it. And unless you got anything else, because we need to get to Chris, tell his story.
no, let's get to Chris. I want to hear Chris's
Well,
story.
what people don't realize, well, I can even start back when he was in college at Southern and so forth. We may start all the way back to that one, Chris, and then in the finance did, because it's a unique story, really, people. It's a unique story. Here's a guy that got into finance and really did a good job, bought a golf course, a dream. I would say in fact, your golf team won the state championship in 1981. Is that right?
You got that right, Coach.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So, he's an avid golfer, had very many friends, and I would think having your goal setting would be own your own golf course in a banquet area. You just loved it. But there came a time you figured out it's time to make a change.
Well, timing's everything.
Yeah.
And like Coach said, I started off down in Carbondale, Illinois, and went to Southern Illinois University and graduated and moved up to Chicago, where I was on the trading floors for about 10 years, 10, 11 years. And
Very stressful, isn't it?
it's very stressful. Yeah, very stressful. A lot of overhead. It takes a lot of time and funds to be on a trading floor to trade commodities, to trade for your own account. And the fluctuations are extreme daily. A lot of stress. But it went well, had a great time. It went well. And the timing there started to change a little bit. And the technology changed on the trading floors. And so I built up enough reserves to where I decided I was going to try something new. And the golf course in my hometown became available. And so we moved the family back to Danville here, and we were able to purchase the local golf course.
Which was with the Elks.
It was an
available.
Elks Country Club, and they were in a position to sell. And so I grabbed a couple business partners here in town, a couple of very good friends of mine. And we decided we were going to turn this golf course into a public facility and have a banquet facility and have a golf course and have swimming pools and have a bar, have the neighborhood bar there.
Very successful one. You held a national junior college banquet there for many years in a row. Always been a great supporter of Danville. It was just you were having fun.
Had a great time.
Yeah, you had a great time doing it.
We were there for 18 years. And in the process of this, like Coach said, we had a lot of good time. And the last thing I ever thought about was the food I was eating. You know, I was known to put down a couple pizzas easily at the bar, and I can drink 12 or 16 or 24 beers while I'm golfing. It was never a problem for me. I always felt like my weight was fairly decent and under control. I walked a lot. I always felt like I was very active. I used to love to swim with my kids and play golf. Um, However, I would get these times where I would get some arthritis and my joints would start to, you know, get stiff. And there was a time in 2012 when Melissa was starting to get this with our daughter Andrea, because she was about 2 at the time, and all of a sudden things were changing in our lives. And so Andrea was going through some situations, and we were starting to talk more about health and wellness. And she come across a company that we aligned with, that she aligned with, and she was asking me if I was into making some possible changes. And I said, you know, I've got some things going on. I got some inflammation in my shoulders right now that I can't even swing a golf club, and I own a golf course. And it was scary. I'm like, you know, how can I not be mobile? I don't feel like I'm in bad shape, but how can I not be mobile? This is 8 years ago, and own a golf course. So she decided that she was going to have me try this supplement that I've been taking now for 8 years. And I took this supplement. I went on about a 60-day trial to do this. This is Nature Red. Yes, this is a full body infusion supplement and full of antioxidants. And so I said, okay, I'll try this for 2 months and see if it helps me at all. Well, within about 3 weeks, my inflammation was going down, and I was able to start stretching again, and I could put my arms up, and I could start playing golf again. That also took me back to where I was able to do my push-ups every day, because I love doing push-ups every day. I've been doing them since 2006. And so I was able to start doing my push-ups again. And then I'm thinking, there's something to this. I really like the way I'm feeling. And so that one little step for me took me to the next level of Melissa educating me on the things that we're putting on our bodies and the things that are in our environment, the toxins that are on our bodies. Our cell is the largest organ of our body. Our skin is the largest organ of our body. And so things that we're putting on our body is getting leached in to our body. Okay. Things we're putting in our body, as in food,
Right.
is in our body. And so we started finding more and more things that were affecting the way we were feeling. And very slowly, we were taking one step and then the next step, and we'd see we'd see some more success. So we would take another step, we'd see more success. There was one time that we decided that we were going to go to a theme park down to Holiday World, and we rewarded ourselves with a full day of pop. They got free pop down at Holiday World. We rewarded ourselves. We thought it was a reward. I find out now that my reward is fruit, but we thought it was a reward, and we had a full day of pop. Okay, not even alcohol, just pop. Came back, went to sleep. The next morning, I couldn't even move my hands. There was so much inflammation because of all of that sugar.
And high fructose corn syrup.
High fructose corn syrup, right. And that's when it hit me for good. That's when I said, I'm done with this. I'm done. Just because it's being served doesn't mean that it's good for me. I'm the only one that's going to advocate for myself of what I'm going to put in my body and on my body. In the meantime, I've got every plug-in in the world in my home. I'm burning candles. So I'm getting all these things, all these fragrance in my house. My kids are, they have asthma, they're sniffling. I didn't realize and I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but I was poisoning my home.
But you didn't know that.
I didn't know it. I thought I was doing something good.
And
I had
most
no
people
clue.
out there, I think that's, if you're not, if you're having those issues, unless you do the research and try to find out, it's just not taking anything away from doctors. I mean,
Mhm.
if you have a broken hand or any of that stuff, they're gonna do great. I think the one thing here is research in preventive medicine.
Yes.
And I think that's what you gotta look at. And again, it's like you said, most doctors are, like I said, if you've got some kind of ailment, but they're not into preventive part, and that's what you put into your system.
Yes,
And
exactly.
it's not just food, it's everything that's in your house that does that. And I mean, you two are living proof of that. I mean, like I said, if Chris would have been the last person I would ever thought to be involved in this, and his research, he's like a encyclopedia with this stuff. I mean, you're
Well, I
unbelievable.
get that from Melissa. She
Well-
is always telling me to look things up and to research for myself. So I'm trying to do that. But what you're seeing is something 8 years in a progress of 8 years.
It wasn't something just happened.
It did not happen overnight, and we took very small steps and really started changing things out in our home. We changed everything from toothpaste and floss and
We started
dryer
with
sheets.
we started with the plugins. We started
Mhm.
get with that, the fragrance, because a lot of people really, they want to smell something in their house. They want
It
to
would
have.
smell good.
Yes. So we started with that because we knew that was the biggest thing. It was everywhere. We were breathing in that fragrance.
And the word fragrance, which I found out that Melissa taught me, is an umbrella term.
Mhm,
And this is very, very important to understand.
mhm.
And I'm going to let you explain this because you explain it so well. But this is an umbrella term, fragrance, that means.
Well, fragrance is basically an umbrella term that is used in the manufacturing industry to fall under trade secret laws. And so, what this does is this allows a company the ability to put anything they want behind the word fragrance, and they never have to disclose ingredients.
And it was with good intentions, wasn't it, for like the perfume company?
In the beginning, it was created so that the perfume industry, wasn't getting robbed of their trade secrets, their perfume recipes. But it's just become a loophole to disguise chemicals behind the word fragrance. And so basically, if you go into your home, if what I'd like to see you do after watching this is open your cabinets and pull out a few items and look for that word fragrance, because unless they will disclose exactly what their ingredient list is for the word fragrance, you don't know what's in there. And one of the movies that I would recommend is a documentary called Stink. And that really exposes trade secret laws for what they are and the dangers of what that means for us as consumers.
And how many chemicals, unregulated chemicals, is in this word fragrance?
Well, there's over 80,000 unregulated chemicals in our American-made products and cosmetics and food.
80,000.
And that's deodorants, your underarm deodorants, all those are all the same, right?
Your
Yeah.
plugins, anything that
I
says
always wonder
fragrance.
why when you're in Europe, why the Europeans never use deodorant underneath their armpits. I'm being a little facetious, but
Well,
it could be part of it.
Yeah. So
I mean,
and in the same conversation, maybe the cousin to this is the word flavoring
yes.
with food.
Yes.
And there's a lot of things that fall into that category of flavoring where it's might not be the best thing for you to ingest this word flavoring versus if we have something that is a real vegetable or a real fruit.
Well, let's be real about it. We know that artificial ingredients, we haven't been eating artificial ingredients for very long. I'd say we probably haven't been eating artificial ingredients for 100 years. What would you say, maybe 50 years or 60 years? So we are the guinea pigs of this. We are the experiment in progress. And so when I look at my life, I know that I am in charge of how my body feels. And so everything I put in or on my body is going to cause me to feel a certain way. So using natural ingredients, that's just the way that we were made. We were made to eat natural food. We were made to eat things that grew from the earth naturally without a bunch of chemical components attached to it. And GMOs are one of those things.
Let me help both of you out because I'm so much older than you two young ones. That I lived on a farm.
Mhm.
Okay, my brother's still there with the great pumpkin and so forth, and has a cheese place. And we had probably, I don't know, probably 100 head of dairy cattle. I can't remember, 1,000 head of chickens, hogs, and so forth. All, and then we had 175 acres. So everything came naturally. Had 2 ponds where we fished off of that. My dad did a lot of hunting and fishing, same with my brother. So a lot of that stuff, that's what we had to start with. I mean, regular milk from the cow, exactly.
Mhm.
Maybe homogenized later. And I can remember all that stuff. And then as time went on, we started adding those things. And I used to have a store route. I used to deliver all over Danville. From former Mayor Bob Jones to his place, Bob's Market, to Gravity. I mean, I go through a list of them. And when we get done, there was a date on those milk carts. Still is today. That you have to pick them up. You got to pick it up, be it cottage cheese, milk, and you got to take it because it's going to get sour. You can't leave it on there. And we'd end up giving it to the chickens or the hogs, whatever may be the case. I guess reusable stuff or recycling, I guess. So I guess back then that would have been all this stuff started to change, probably late 70s, 80s when all these
Exactly.
things came in. And so, you know, obviously I went away from the farm and started, you know, in my own profession as coaching. And then all these things started coming into place, be it the fast food things now. Before back then, you know, we ate at home. It was, you know, it was garden vegetables, it was the
Yes.
chickens, it was all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it was. You know, my family, they've all lived on my side, have lived to be grandfather worked at coal, lived to be 97.
Mhm.
And again, got stuff out of the garden, did all that stuff.
Ate real food.
Yep, ate real food. My aunts and uncles all lived in the 90s. My uncle Emil passed away at 96, I believe, and my dad 90, and my mom 92. So I guess that had something to do with it. And Grandpa worked at coal mines. You can't get any worse than smelling that. And he smoked a pipe. So,
Yeah.
but the stuff, other stuff he was put into his system was pretty good stuff because I can remember the gardens he used to make, and then you know they had cows, and chickens even before that when they were growing up. So I guess you're right, and that's what we've got because it's about all these things you're talking about, Melissa. We in our society, we've speeded up and to take it because we've gone a little bit faster, a little bit faster. We got to make a little bit more money. We got to
Make it more convenient.
make it more convenient. You're right, Chris, and that's so now we've expedited it. But all along, those people, and just like in the farm, there wasn't a lot of fertilizer. You use regular
Manure.
cow manure or chicken manure, whatever may be the case. And then the fertilizer, more fertilizer because you got greater yields and all that stuff. Well, that's where we're at. Go to any farm now. There isn't a dairy farm I can think of in Maine County. There might be one, and I can tell you all around, they've almost disappeared, except I know there's one in Rensselaer that's got 4,000 or 5,000 at a cattle. You're going to see the same with hogs, same way with chickens, same with turkeys. They're all big corporations.
Yeah.
And they're loading them up with the hormones because they want production. Same way with your the farmers. I don't have anything against the farmers because it's a job. They're trying to get more yield out of what they're doing.
But what we're seeing is a sicker community, a sicker United States.
And if you look at the obesity records,
we're seeing a heavier obesity in the United States.
Yeah. Ours is one of the greatest in probably the whole world.
We are the sickest generation that we've ever been.
And
right
this
now.
is because of our food and because of the toxins that we have let in our environment.
Sure.
daily.
Right. And
Now, for me, coach, you're looking at somebody now. I was 270 pounds when Melissa decided that we were going to start this journey of wellness. Okay. And I thought I was hey, I'm 6'7", 270 pounds. I'm great.
you could have played, you know what? Lovey might want to use you.
He might want to use me. Now, when I left college, I was 250 pounds. Okay. And I thought 250 was awesome. What I never understood was, now I'm no Michael Jordan at all, but Michael Jordan and I are the same height. Michael Jordan weighed 220 pounds when he was playing for the Bulls. So we're the same height, and I never could understand how could someone be 220 pounds, I'm 250, and I feel like I'm in good shape. When we started our wellness program and we eliminated the toxins out of our environment, we started eating well, real well, and we are extremely intentional. My weight dropped like I have never seen. Very rarely have I ever seen that in anybody. And I was not starving myself. I was simply putting in and on my body real products and my
Healthy
weight, healthy products. And within 2 months, my weight went down to 222 pounds. Now, I wasn't trying to lose weight. I'm the first to say I was not trying to lose weight. I was eating a lot, but I was much more intentional on what I was putting in my body and on my body. And that's when it made a big difference to you. And I had so many people, what on earth are you doing? You are losing so much weight. I'm like, I've changed a few things of what I'm putting in my body. And then I plateaued at 222 pounds. And that's about where I've stayed.
That's your ideal weight, yeah.
Yeah, it's my ideal weight. And I would never have guessed that in my wildest dreams, that my ideal weight is 220 to 225 pounds. I never would have guessed it. I wasn't this weight. I was this weight maybe back in high school. And so to me, that is a true testament. And that has led me to one, talk about this to people and to explain what we have decided to do. And real quickly, I'd like to just add to that, all of this food, the negative toxins that are in our environment mess up your hormones. And so for me, getting back to a weight that I feel great with, I can do all my exercises. I have no inflammation.
Got more energy, don't you?
Got all the energy in the world. Don't sit there and take a nap every day. I sleep very well. My hormones are right where they need to be. And so, what does that mean? That means that you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of drive, you have a lot of stamina, all the things that a guy wants, you have that when your hormones are in check. And so
Chris,
that is where I'm at.
How old are you, Chris?
I'm 56 years old.
56 years. That look great.
56, and I literally feel like I'm in my 20s.
There you go.
Couldn't be happier.
Well, to go into some of this, tell a little bit of the story I have, and it goes with these two. That's been, it kind of segues into this. There was a time period, always very conscious about, taking care of yourself and all that while I was coaching and played college basketball. A very average player, but played 4 years college basketball and got out and worked out and did stuff like everybody else. And did the same thing when I was at high school level as a high school coach and on the college level. And always tried to make sure I did some of the right things. So I would still study, because I have a master's degree in psychology and obviously physical education and so forth. So I would study all the things, because I was always looking, not just for me, but for my athletes. What's going to make them better?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to, what are you putting in your body and so forth? And what are you doing exercise-wise? So I kept doing that as time went on. And I'll never forget this. After I left DAC, I went to Arizona. And that's a whole different climate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a whole different lifestyle. You're talking about lifestyle. You're talking about the weather's nicer, and I was riding a bicycle all the time. I was down to probably, I think at that time, probably 210, probably maybe 25, maybe something like that. And I was teaching, believe it or not, I was teaching grade school PE. And I was walking with the kids every day. I'm talking about kindergarten kids now. I was thinking about it. Now, here's a guy who's been dealing with the college athletes. And now I've got kindergarten kids I'm working with. And their attention spans maybe 3 seconds if you're lucky. And I'll tell you a real funny story. I'm walking with him one day because we were doing marching, and the older kids, that's not a problem. They follow along with me like ducks. And I looked around, and there's 4 little kindergarten kids going this way, and 4 little kindergarten kids going that way, and 3 of them are picking up butterflies, and another one picking up. I'm going, what did I get myself into in this whole situation? But the idea is, then I came back, and again, it's a lifestyle change, and I came back and did some stuff in the Mexican military. Came back from that, but I'm changing my environment and what I do every day, and because you're into a routine, and that's what you're talking about, your lifestyle. You two have a pretty much consistent routine of what you're doing every day, and I think that has something to do with this what we're talking about, but also in the coaching world, your late nights, you don't eat like you probably should. You're grabbing a Burger King or a McDonald's or something at 9, 10, 12 o'clock at night. You travel, and those are all things that is going to catch up with you eventually.
It's convenient and it's marketed to you.
Exactly. Yeah, you're driving by it, or in the morning, I want to pick up a biscuit, and doesn't sound good. There is the
Yeah.
eggs and biscuit thing. So anyway, when I came back from Arizona, I had retired from the college back in 2006, and I was in pretty good shape. Felt pretty good. So I worked out and stuff, and had been overseas and come back. And again, those are all changes of your environment, your lifestyle, what you're doing. And then I came back to Danville. I did some stuff to teach them. But when I get to the next part, so I got a call from Steve Tetterow, the principal at Milford. He said, "Coach, we want you to come and coach." And I said, "Steve, that's great, but I'm not going to drive 45 miles for just a stipend." I said, "No, Coach, we want you to come be the AD and Dean of Students and basketball coach." Well, that puts it in a whole different perspective and category. It's full time. Now 45 miles makes sense to me. And I did that. Because I wasn't through coaching or doing the stuff today, because I always had the camps. As you know, I love to go to the islands and had a lot of success with a lot of good friends there. But going to this part, still not probably eating as well as I should eat. I would go time period, not diets, but just changing what I'm doing. So now I've changed again. I'm getting up early morning, going to Milford. Get there by 7:45, whatever may be the case. So I always stopping at Hubson and getting
something,
a burrito and
Yeah.
probably not the best thing. And then,
Convenience.
yeah, convenience again, same thing. And in the schedule there, being AD and Dean of Students, you're lucky if you get home at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I'm not complaining because I love working with the kids and work with the people I work with. Well, along comes the 31st of December 2004. I want to say 2014. I think that's right. And clear as a bell, I'm going to go to practice at Milford, and no snow, no nothing. And I get up not very far from Hubson, the stop sign there at Hubson, and a guy with a truck. And he didn't do this obviously intentionally, but serious car accident. When I mean serious, we're talking about flying you into Carl. I thought, and I don't know that I've ever had that much pain my whole life. I don't know. I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but the story I'm going to tell is that leads into other issues. 3 surgeries on the ankle, a broken femur, if you can remember that, and then into a wheelchair for probably 4 or 5 months, I believe. I was in the hospital for a month. Now, I didn't know whether I was going to walk again or do this thing. And I had a lot of good friends and family that helped out. My brother really helped out, my wife, and my nephews, and so forth, and stepdaughters. But at that time, again, you've got to change what you're eating, what you're doing, and guess what? You're not really exercising. You're getting rehab, but it's not the same. And now you go from wheelchair to a walker and canes and et cetera, et cetera. And through a good friend of mine that I do stuff with, Dr. Bartosh, we got involved with that. And I would always ask him about things that you're telling me, he was telling me back then.
Mm-hmm.
So just when I met with you two, it was like, yeah, this is not some fly by night situation. And so it started that. So going back to the injury, we had everything was going great. Come back, went coach in a wheelchair, got out of that, and I found a hyperbaric chamber with Dr. Bartosh, which people don't know. That's pure oxygen that gets in your system, helped heal me that much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, we're back, exercising, swimming, doing all things right, eating a little bit better, weights down, and back at Milford coaching again. And then middle of the season, I think we were like maybe 1451, and the doctor said, hey, you need to come back and reevaluate your ankle again. I said, okay. I said, Doc, look, I got to pick a time period. We're in the middle of the season. So I go and finally do it in January. And he x-rays and everything. Says, well, you got two or three screws broken in your ankle. You're going to have surgery. And I go, what? I said, you got to be kidding me. And it got to the point I said, look, I can't do this. These kids or the people I work with, I can't miss. He said, well, I can tell you this right now. He says, you're a hard head. I said, well, I understand that part of it very seriously. That's what Nancy tells me all the time. And I said, okay. I said, look, if there's infection, which you're talking about, you are going to have that surgery right away, or you'll lose your foot or your leg. And you'd always do that. When I got hurt the first time, that's what I said, Doc, this is 2 days after I had the surgery at Carl. I said, Doc, my team's undefeated. I got to get back and be with these guys, right? He looked at me and goes, you're not going anyplace. You're going to be in this hospital for 30 days. I said, what? I said, I got to get back. No, you don't understand how tough the surgery was. That I found out later from a couple of friends from Milford behind me. Said, Coach, you're lucky you're even alive, period.
Mm.
And I said, and he told me that. He said, well, if you want to keep your foot and your leg, you need to listen to me. And that woke me up a little bit. And I said, I'll do whatever you have to do. And that meant diet, it meant all the things and rehab. So we did all that. Going back to this second time, he goes, well, this has to happen. I said, whoa, time out. We're not gonna have any surgeries or anything while this season's going on. I said, those kids deserve better than that. So anyway, he said, well, I'll tell you what, you come and do a blood test. If you have no infection, anything in your foot, your body, then we'll postpone the surgery till after basketball season. That I didn't have any. Obviously, I was taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point I need to make. And again, watch what I was eating. Well, I was down weight. Go after season, do the surgery. Now I go, okay, now I did it during a spring break. It was in April, so I didn't try to miss any school. I said, okay, Doc, I got to get back. I'm the AD. I got to finish up at Milford. And he looked at me and goes, you know what? You're unbelievable. I go, what do you mean? I said, I got to get back. He says, you're not going any place. You're going to be back on your back all the whole month of April. I said, you got to be kidding me. He says, no, you're going to sit on back, lay back, and that's what you're going to do. Or you're going to, there he goes again, you're going to lose your foot or your leg. I go, all right. So we did that. Well, you know what happens? Now you have no activity, and now we've changed everything in your lifestyle, and you're talking about being dependent on people to drive you places, to do all those things. I mean, even going back to the first time it happened, just take a shower. I can't even get into all that stuff, but it just, everything had changed, and you're basically helpless to a certain extent. Well, now I'm back on my back. Now I do pick up weight. And so we get done with all that. Now we're back again to a cane or a walker, a cane, and then we're back to doing this. Well, the surgery was good, but the weight's coming back. So we're going to go through this whole process again, try to change this. And finally I said to the Milford people, I said, look, it's not fair to all you people. I just need to retire and take care of me.
Take care of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
take care of and rehab. And fortunately enough, I did get a call from Bart Hughes at the time and asked me to come help Schlemmer, which wasn't being there full time. But I could take the time to go rehab and do what I had to do. And that's what I did. But again, it's a change. So the weight started to come back on. And it wasn't too bad. Not again eating like what you guys are telling me and realizing about it, even though I knew, talking to Dr. Bartosh and talking to some of the people I researched. And so what happened next was that through all this, it just kept getting more and more. And so what hit me was here, it was a year or two, I'm looking at video, game video, and I'm going, who is that guy? That can't be me. And I don't know if you do the psychological part, I had a picture of myself, back when I was a DAC, and I'm looking, well, that's not the same guy that's in this video. And lo and behold, the pandemic hits. And that's when that made me stop and think, what are you doing? And that's a time of change. And I had talked to Chris and another group about changing my lifestyle, what I was going to eat, what I was going to do. I said, and if you remember this, I said, Chris, I'll get back to you. And eventually, Chris never put any pressure on me unless either one said, hey, coach, we got this. There was no big sales pitch. Said, hey, when you get ready, we'll talk to you. And that's what happened. So we got into the business of taking toxins out of the house, changing what I ate. And when I saw what he was doing and you were doing, that sold me on it's time to make changes if I want to stay around. And of course, the pandemic, they're going through this whole thing. If your immune system's down, you're in trouble. You're in big trouble.
And if your immune system's up,
you're going to fight all this stuff off. So again, did that, the vitamin D, the vitamin C, zinc, all, and changing what I was working, but I had torn my meniscus. And so if anybody knows this, now going upstairs or anything else, that was a problem. So that stopped me from doing all the exercise I want to do. And I said, I got to figure out something because you can't swim because they closed all that off. And so I came up with another plan of stuff I'd had for a couple of years, some videos and stuff. It was called, I believe, Growing Young. And I started doing that stretching and moving and doing that. So,
and you're looking good.
Yeah,
you're looking
I've
good.
dropped,
We can tell a big difference.
Yeah, I've dropped down 55 to 60 pounds.
And it's a
Until
long
you're really feeling
process.
better.
Oh, and it can't be what I'm telling you, people. It's not, and this is where people go into depression because if you remember right, now everything stopped. I mean, there was no need going I had games planned, I had summer camps going, going to the islands, going to Vegas. I mean, I have a whole deal I'm doing, and I'm on the treadmill, and I go, it just stopped me. And I said, we got to reevaluate, and we did, and we reevaluated all that stuff. But this is a marathon. This is not all of a sudden I go, I got to just get rid of 20 pounds. I just want to just take it off. Well, that's not the case.
It's a lifestyle. So
It's
you're
a
right.
lifestyle.
It's a marathon.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
Marathon
trying
is a
to say to
lifestyle.
people. And again, did more research. Again, I talked to Dr. Coach. He said, you do this, this, and this, and it tied in with this video I was looking at. And it said, if you lose 2 pounds a week, you'll do it healthy wise, but you want to keep your muscle mass at the same. And I was concerned about that. And so I do a dumbbell thing, and a lot of bandwidth. And I had guys, good close friends, because they shut down all the fitness centers. And both of them said, well, Coach, I'm not the same. I don't have quite the same strength. I'm thinking, well, I got my fitness center right here.
Yeah.
I got a stepper. I got to do a band work, got dumbbells. And so I guess that's what I'm trying to say to all of us. It's Chris changing, you changing, taking the toxins out of your house, taking what you in your body out. And I'm 70 years old. And like I said, off of a very, very serious car accident, then come and tear up my meniscus. And the guy, and I went to the doctor and said, look, you can go, MRI and do all that stuff. I don't know. You're better off just letting it heal by itself. Well, letting it heal by yourself means you're still at a slow pace. You're not walking long distances. But what I found out since workout, I can walk. After I did the stretching exercise and all stuff, then I could go. I have a Fitbit, so I'm 5,000-6,000 steps. Should be more, but
and you slowly worked up to that, right?
yeah,
I can remember.
This is not.
Yeah,
this is
it's
not
been amazing to witness.
Because what you're fighting is between your 2 ears.
Yes.
And I think the three of us are trying to say that to you, because we do go through those things of depression, and your biggest battle is within yourself.
Yep.
And to say, okay, and all three of us are living proof that it can be done. It's a marathon.
It
You got to
is.
take it day by day. There should be no saying inch by inch, yard by yard.
And the thing that we all have in common is it was the right time for each of us. So the timing was right for you, the timing was right for me when Melissa introduced this to me, and the timing was right for her with our daughter. When the timing's right for anybody, then
Well, the timing had to be right for me.
yes, it had to be. You didn't have a choice.
Exactly. It was kind of like it was a thing where I was given an option to really learn what they were telling me about my daughter, really learn things, or just listen and be helpless.
Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you about her. And I don't think either one of you see the whole big picture yet. You took care of your daughter, and you have a business. How many people are you tied in with your business?
So we have about 2,800 people tied in right now.
What I'm going to say to all of you, yes, you helped your daughter, but you're also helping hundreds more people. Very similar to what I do in coaching. That's why I'm in the business. Whether it's get them scholarships or get them information. I think the big thing for both of you, you've helped me. And I tell people, it's my turn to now go out and try to help other people out. It's what I'm into is coaching. And I'm trying to coach you. Let's tackle this problem. It's not easy. It's going to be tough, but if you stay focused on it, you'll eventually get better. You'll feel better. Because I see my own family. Some of them are overweight. Some are having huge health issues. And I said, if I'm going to help them, I better help myself first. And I think that's what you two have done, and that's the example. That's why I'm doing this video with you. Is to say, hey, I know those three people. Somebody out there knows each one, and it's called networking. We're networking, saying, look, here's what this is. We're trying to get information to you. If we can do it, you can do it. I mean, some 7-year-old guy that's was at one time 355 or 60 pounds is down. Lost 60 pounds. I mean,
woohoo!
Yeah. So, and health wise, like blood pressure is like 122 over 78 or whatever may be the case.
Perfect.
I take one blood pressure pill, the rest are, vitamin D, C, and some zinc. And I think in this time period, thanks to you two, it was an awakening. And I'm just trying to make sure to try to help other people to have an awakening. So we all feel a little bit better about what we're doing, and maybe we reach one person. If we reach one person, great.
Yes, we can advocate for ourselves. We all have what we need inside of us to make the right choices for ourselves. We just have to take the time to do the research and advocate.
Guys, I appreciate you having me open up to your house. And
Thank
Melissa, you're so great. I mean, it's unbelievable. And to take these two guys next to you, these two numbnuts that you've taken on and made us awakening to all this.
Very grateful.
Yeah, we are grateful for what you've done. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there. Is there a business component down the road? We're not selling that. And that's one thing Chris emphasized to me time after time after time. Saying, you want to get up, fine, but if you want it to use some of the stuff and change what you're doing in your body, change what's in your system, to do that. My niece Lisa is like that. I talk to her in all the time, and she's a sweetheart. And she's, my nephew Todd, she's really helped him. So I'm not going to get into all that. But anyway, for all of you that are out there, thank you for watching this. And we'll have this on YouTube also.
Mhm.
And I will send it out also with a link to other people to watch it. You two, love both of you. You did a great job.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.